Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm doing a thrift flip with this dress that I got at Clothing Warehouse in Little Five Points last weekend, and I love it. It's very large. It's too large for me, but I cinch in the waist. This is definitely how big my waist is. Basically, after I got it home, I realized that whoever had this before loved it a lot because this is all worn in. It's basically sheer, and also the zipper is really not well, it's literally coming out right there. It's just very shoddily sewn. It looks hand sewn, which I used to hand sew a lot of clothes when I was younger, so I am familiar with the issues at hand when sewing clothes. So initially I was just thinking, it's fine, I'll tack this in. I can put in an invisible zipper. I have an invisible zipper foot. It'll be fine. Yeah, well, okay, the more I looked at it, the more I realized, yeah, actually there are holes kind of like all over it, but I still am so glad that I have it because I'm obsessed with this fabric and I know I want it for something. I just am not sure what I'm gonna make with it yet. I have two plans. First plan, I might just take the sleeves off and sew the back up instead of having a zipper because I actually don't really need the zipper. My head fits through the top, so might just sew it up. That's gonna be task possibly number one. But when I've folded in the sleeves and put it on, I look less cool and more like a school teacher. So if I take the sleeves off, I'm not gonna tack this down. I'm just gonna take the sleeves off, try it on, see how I like it. And if I don't like it, then I'm going to, I'm not gonna worry about the zipper. I'm just gonna cut it right here at the bodice seam, even though the bodice is super high up. It's like right here. I'll cut it there, cut this part off, fold it and make a waistband. Then I'm gonna gather it and sew it all, and I'm gonna make it like a nice midi skirt. So we will see. I'm still not sure what I'm gonna do, but I will figure it out. First, I tried taking off just the left sleeve so I could decide whether or not I liked the dress sleeveless. Although after officially removing the sleeve, I decided I felt way too much like Lori Partridge and chose to go with option 2 and make a skirt instead. So starting with this one sleeved version of the dress, I ran a line of pins about 4 inches below the bodice seam, and then I cut across the seam and pin lines to create this long strip of fabric that I could use for the waistband. Then I cut some fusible interfacing to match the size of the waistband strip, so when I sew the waistband it won't feel too floppy. I ironed that on to the back side of the waistband fabric, then folded the waistband fabric over and ironed it flat. At this point I actually found a ton of hidden holes in the top layer of fabric, so I spent about an hour hand stitching and patching all of them, and it felt like a ridiculous amount of extra work at the time, but now that I'm done, I'm really happy that I spent the time on it because now I have a skirt that'll last me like a couple years, so it's all worth it in the end. Just hang in there. Next, I turned up the stitch length to its longest setting and then sewed 2 parallel lines about 1 centimeter away from the top of the skirt. Now I don't backstitch at the ends of either seam because I'm going to use the end threads to create the gather at the top of the skirt when I'm finished. I pulled the threads until the skirt was cinched to be the same length as the waistband and then pinned the two together. I sewed the waistband to the cinched skirt, but made sure I sewed past the 2 parallel seams from earlier so that later I didn't have to come back in and try and take both of those parallel seams out because that seemed like way too much work for something that could be so easily avoided. Then I had to deal with the zipper, which I bought way too long because it was the only color that matched the skirt. And so I cut a slit in the back seam of the skirt, deep enough so I could get the skirt on and off easily. And then I sewed over the teeth of my zipper a couple centimeters down from that point. I cut the zipper shorter, then pinned it flat side down to the outside of the skirt and sewed it on with my invisible zipper foot, which I ended up having to buy last minute, even though I thought I had one. Oh well. The zipper went in fine, thank God, so the only thing left to do was to snip off the top of the zipper and sew in a hook and eye. The hook and eye wasn't totally necessary, but I figure it'll keep the zipper from unzipping on its own if I ever decide to pair the skirt with a bulky sweater or something. And here it is all done. I honestly wasn't sure if I'd end up with anything I liked quite as much as I liked the original dress, but I think I ended up liking the skirt version way more, which I never saw coming. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.